All right, time to get a somewhat outside perspective, an inside but outside perspective. That sounds confusing, but it'll definitely make sense because my next guest is Besiktas and Canada legend Atiba Hutchinson. Dude, thanks so much for coming on the show. But before we talk, I got to introduce you a little bit more. You're a true icon, man. You hold a special place in the hearts of Besiktas fans, obviously, right? You're a former captain of the club, once a captain, always a captain, I say. You won the Turkish Super League 3 times with them. You have one of my favorite nicknames in sport, the Octopus, right? You spent 10 years in Türkiye, and because you're a Canadian football / soccer legend, we're going to make use of that. And so 10 years in Türkiye, you know how passionate the fans are, right? Oh, yeah. Throughout your career, in a Turkish football perspective, is that good or is that bad?
Great. Only positive things to say about the culture here, the Turkish fans, how passionate they are about the sport. I mean, you can't go anywhere where you'll meet somebody and they don't have a team that they support. Mm-hmm. So I think it's good to just be a part of it and just feel the energy that the Turks have, and they got a lot of love for the sport, and it's always been very good for me. So I loved every moment of it.
Yeah, and when you look at Turkish fans, obviously you've probably heard about the 2002 World Cup and how they finished in third, right? A very historic result for Türkiye. How much do you think that passion translates into pressure for Turkish players? You've been around Turkish players at your club, Besiktas, obviously. How big of a part will that play?
Well, yeah, as you said, Turkey did very well in that World Cup, and ever since that, it hasn't been easy to get back to the World Cup. So now they're finally there. They're going to want to go out there and make a lot of noise and kind of have a similar outcome that they had in 2002. So playing in Turkey, it's never just easy and just relax for any kind of player, whichever club you're playing for. There's always that added pressure that comes with it, but it's part of the game. The players are they're expecting that. They know how to deal with it. So I think they've got a great team, and I think they'll be full of confidence going into this World Cup.
All right. Speaking of great team, let me just tell you the names: Arda Güler, Kenan Yıldız, Hakan Çalhanoğlu. I mean, the three headliners of this team. From a player's perspective, though, what do you want to see from them at a World Cup like this that can, make Türkiye make all the big headlines?
Yeah, more of what we've been seeing from these guys. They've got so much quality in the way they play. In the big moments, these guys really step up to the occasion, and they put the teams on their back wherever they're playing. So I think just to continue seeing what we've been seeing, but obviously now it's a World Cup. They did well in the last major competition, the Euros. Now this is the world stage. So a lot of what we've been seeing, I think another breakout tournament for Arda Güler is in the cards for him. And Yildiz in the attacking third is a great player, but a bunch of other players that they have to really help them push on.
Kerem Aktürkoğlu,
right? Yes, Orkun Kökçü,
of course, Besiktas, you gotta mention him.
My guy, yes. So a very good all-around team, and I think they'll be ready for this.
And when the Türkiye drew US in their group, in Group D, did you have any friends call you up and say, "Hey, man, you've played against the US like maybe 7 times, 6-7 times throughout your career"? Any whispers, any kind of secrets that you can give this team?
Well, I think it will be a good game. Very two very good teams, young teams, but obviously a lot of confidence in themselves, and obviously the US are playing at home, so the host teams are always teams that are pretty much favored to get out of the group. We haven't seen many World Cups or major competitions where the host country hasn't gone out, so. It's going to be a very good game, but I expect to see both teams going head to head, and I think a lot could happen if Turkey get it right, and they continue to do what we've been seeing over the past few months, last 1 or 2 years. They've got a really good team, so if they go out there and stick to what they know how to play, I think they got a good shot at it.
All right, sticking to what they know is kind of a tricky thing with this Turkish team, right? When you look at their squad, top to bottom, you struggle to find a Cenk Tosun, a Burak Yılmaz in this squad, a traditional number 9. But the way Montella, the head coach Vincenzo Montella, has been playing this squad, Do you think that can translate to a World Cup setting? Because it's a little bit different from qualifying, isn't it?
Yeah. Now you're at the biggest stage where you've got the top teams that you'll come across, especially if you go deeper into the tournament. So obviously, you always want to have a striker that you can kind of count on and depend on. But we've seen a lot of good things in Kerem. He's a very good work ethic and. He can score goals as well. And I think the way that the team plays, they're very good possession-wise. They can create a lot of chances. So the chances will come for whoever's playing striker. And then it's a matter of just putting the ball in the back of the net. So if you get things right, then I think things could still look good.
At the end of the day, it is a competition where the more goals you score, the more you win, right?
Right.
And Türkiye can do it, hopefully. But let me ask you this. You're Canadian. You grew up in Ontario playing football. We kind of talked about it before we started recording, that there wasn't really club football growing up, right? Back in the 90s. In terms of the U.S., perhaps maybe having the 12th man on their side, right? The home crowd advantage. Do you think it's really going to be an advantage culturally compared to World Cups prior for host nation?
That's a good question. That the culture is still growing, especially over there in North America. It's come a long way. In the U.S., their first World Cup was the '94, and things really took off since then. We're hoping the same for Canada, but yeah, it's not the same as you would see in other parts of the world. So I don't know if it's going to have a huge impact on these games, especially playing against countries like Turkey. I think they will somehow find a way to pack the stadium with a lot of red and white in there, and they always make a lot of noise. But again, you always have that feeling when you're playing as a host country that the fans are behind you. So let's see how it ends up and turning out. But I hope for Canada that we will have that feeling of a 12th man for sure.
I like to call you the Steve Nash of Canadian football. Steve Nash, coming up, you didn't really have a lot of talent around him. Now you look at Canadians playing in the NBA. You got your SGAs, you got a whole bunch of other players. For you, you said you're hoping that the boom happens for Canada as well. What do you mean exactly? Like in terms of fan interest or more investment in football in North America?
That's right. I would say both. I think that's what's important. The investment going into the game to help the game continue to grow, seeing the infrastructure, a lot of different facilities and places where these kids have the opportunity to go out there and play. But most importantly, I think, when you get that feeling of what it is to play at the highest level, this sport, I think that's what really takes it off. And then if you have the success that goes with it, if the team can go out there and perform and make a lot of noise, you start seeing a lot of kids that want to really play the sport, and you'll see them all around the country. So I think that's what we've seen in '94, our neighboring countries, and that's what we're hoping for in Canada.
Yeah, same here. I mean, it is going to be football's biggest tournament, 48 teams at this upcoming World Cup. Atiba, thank you so much for coming on Beyond the Game. We appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And that's it for this edition of Beyond the Game. We're hoping Türkiye go as far as they can go, and we'll be there along the way in North America at the upcoming World Cup. Thanks so much for watching. From me, Tal Dewan, and my very lovely guest, Atiba Hutchinson, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.